Hi, I'm Colette, and today I am joined by the wonderful Avi Roque.
Hello, hi everybody.
So let's start off by asking why and how did you get involved in the world of acting?
Sure. I there was always some kind of, and it was okay. Well, one, I was very introverted as a kid, like very, very shy, so much so that like I wouldn't like really talk to my own grandma, and I would like go through my sister to like communicate for me, and like my grandma was just a very like lively person. I think as a young kid, I think that was a little too much or overwhelming. So, anyways, I think I would say sixth grade was when I did my first play, which was me even entertaining the idea of doing any kind of acting. But when I am asked this question, I do think for me, it really was that need or that craving for escape to want to be something I wasn't. I mean, from a very young age, I was struggling internally with gender identity and expression. And I think being able to be in that setting where it's imaginary, it allowed me to escape. That's the main word. So I did my first play in sixth grade. It was a Shakespeare play. And there was another layer there that was a gender I got to explore that at that time was not my own. And we were doing Much Ado About Nothing, which is funny because I went to a Catholic school. So this was K through 8 Catholic school, co-ed, and the drama program decided to do Much Ado About Nothing, which of course was an edited, abridged version.
Yeah.
But with my limited understanding as well of like genders and what exists, but none of the boys, did the drama program. It was just the girls. And so at that time, I was a part of that group of just the girls, and I got cast as the male lead, Benedict, in sixth grade. And I was really excited, and I really dove into it. And it was like a thing I didn't know was meaningful to me, but I think like I knew it was meaningful and I knew it was doing something for me. And I think that's when the acting bug bit me. Uh, and then I didn't do anything acting related for seventh or eighth grade. I have this memory that after I did a performance of the show entire this in front of the entire student body, I the way my mind processed this was that there was a group of boys that were laughing, and I thought they were like laughing and like joking about me and the way I chose to like present to play the character. Like I drew like facial hair on my face and like I pulled my hair back in a tight ponytail. And anyway, so I don't know. I think that was a moment that I was like, ooh, okay, maybe this isn't okay. And so I'm just gonna not do acting. Then high school came around, and my sister, who's 2 years older than me, was at the same high school and was really pushing and encouraging me to audition for the fall play and so I did as a freshman, and I was one of the few freshmen that got cast in the play for the fall. And then since then I did the play and the musical in the spring throughout my 4 years of high school, except for junior year, because college applications was really like a lot, and I just didn't have time.
Currently going through it, I know.
Yeah, I didn't have time to do theater, okay? But anyways, I continued to do that. And meanwhile, this is still pre-transition. So I'm still being groomed and educated or taught or exploring as a assigned female at birth person, still using my birth name, she, her pronouns, like presenting, trying to present in that way, trying to be that thing, all the way through college, where I was like, okay, I want to keep doing theater. It was still serving me in some way. So I still really wanted to do it and I didn't want to give up. So I auditioned to like NYU Tisch and Cal Arts, and I didn't get into any of those schools. So I went to my backup school, which was California State University, Fullerton. And the way they were doing the program was you entered as a BFA, Bachelor of Fine Art, Acting, Musical Theater hopeful. So you were still auditioning in your semesters, like while you were training. So at the end of your freshman year, you had to audition in front of the panel of professors, and then they would decide whether or not you got to continue onward to continue getting training as an actor. I made my first cut at the end of freshman year, but then the big cut is at the end of sophomore year. So I did not pass, and I did not make getting official training stopped for me there. So I was at a crossroads of like, do I want to keep staying in the theater department? Do I want to find other ways to do theater outside of school? And there was something in me that still felt very persistent and very hungry for it and still wanting to like keep doing it. So I got a general like BA in liberal arts theater or something. I don't know, like a theater degree, general theater degree, uh, and did acting classes outside of school. And like that was still my trajectory and my path. So that's kind of wow. I answered more than one question. but
That's
but
okay.
since it's
That's perfect. Also, um, apologies to viewers. My screen is like glitching like crazy. I don't know
okay.
why.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I didn't notice.
Your voice is still coming through perfectly fine.
Oh,
Um,
great.
and I feel like the ponytail as a like when you're playing a male
Yes.
character as a non-male
Yeah.
person is a
Yeah.
universal experience. For
Yes. Wonderful.
as somebody who played Hugo Peabody in Bye Bye Birdie at an all-girls sleepaway camp
Yes.
when I was like 8.
That's amazing. Yes.
it's
We are. Yeah.
it's a universal experience.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
so other than what I and possibly wow, my screen is bugging like crazy.
Oh.
Um, possibly a lot of people know you from, which is the Owl House. What
Yeah.
other projects and shows have you been a part of?
Great question. You know, so much of my career has been theater, to be quite honest. So a lot of professional regional theater. Um, so you know, if unless you're in that city and you've gone to see me, like I did another Shakespeare play in St. Louis, where I was so happy. So many Owl House fans came out to see the show because it was free to the public. It was Shakespeare in the Park. And I just loved getting to meet some fans that were like, oh my gosh, Avi's in St. Louis. Like, you know, so that was really cool. I did this like West Coast premiere of a play called The Inheritance at Geffen Playhouse last year. And The Inheritance premiered on Broadway and it won a Tony Award. And so that was just really cool to get to be a part of that storytelling because it's telling the story of cis, like gay men, and navigating the HIV/AIDS crisis, but like having each other and like, anyway, so it was uh, very cool. Or I don't know, to get to be a part of that narrative, or you know, because I think they were trying to explore other people that could be a part of that like community. And so I brought my trans masculinity into the mix and got to edit some with the playwright. I got to change some language to fit me and who I am, to add to the storytelling. So that was cool. As far as like TV, on I've done some short films that have gone to some festivals. Uh, but big stuff, I would say the Owl House is probably like my like biggest thing so far. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to do more, and you know, I love the voice acting, and you know, I'd love to continue to do that and do animation. It's just so much fun.
It really is. It's so much
Yeah.
fun. Also, again, apologies to viewers. I don't know if this glitching will translate to the Zoom
Gosh.
recording download. Um,
It's Monday, you
it's
know,
Monday.
right? It's Monday.
um, so speaking of the Owl House and the community that the Owl House has built, How has it felt to have such a large and supportive community following your projects and your work, and
Yes.
especially the like large LGBTQIA plus community that is a part of the Owl House community?
Oh, yes. Great question. It is the most rewarding thing ever. I feel like as an artist, my mission statement has always been, you know, creating work, doing work that speaks to others, that inspires others, that helps others. And I feel like having that opportunity and that platform allowed me to reach more people. And so I'm just always full of gratitude and in awe that I still continue to get messages or people, saying how much the Owl House has meant to them, how much Rain Whispers has meant to them, how much I mean to them, just being who I am and doing what I did on the show. It's like giving people hope and like possibility that they can do something like that too. So I just I know I say this a lot, but it's my like catchphrase now. It's like that kind of representation is life changing and life saving. So, and I feel like I see the effects of that. So, yeah, it's just wow, what a gift.
Yeah, I mean, I personally know people who have been really impacted by your performance, and just having that representation on the screen and on like on the screen and in Disney nonetheless. Um,
Yes.
and also like having a trans non-binary character be played by a
Yeah.
trans non-binary
Yeah.
person,
Yes.
um, really, it really does have such a huge impact on the people watching it. So,
Does. Right. Yes. It's
um,
beautiful.
what do you do for, or what did you do for work when you weren't
Yeah.
part of a production or auditioning for other shows? And have you had a secondary job while you were performing in a show? And
Yeah.
if so, what was it?
Yeah, those side hustle jobs. So after college, I moved to Chicago. And, because again, I was like, I still want to do theater. And surprisingly, Chicago is a very large theater town. And it's where I really grew as an artist, as an actor, and as an individual, because Chicago is where I transitioned socially and medically. And so when I was living in Chicago, I definitely needed other jobs to in order to pay rent and get groceries and pay for, living survival. So when I first moved out there, my sister, I've always been following my sister. I'm not anymore. I feel like I'm a free bird now, living my life. But for a good chunk of my time, my sister and I were very close, and I felt like I was always trying to be close to her. So she was living in Chicago as well, and she was a Pilates instructor at this studio that was also a teeth whitening business. So I know what a combo, but needless to say, I was like the front desk receptionist for the businesses, like for the Pilates and for the teeth whitening. It was bizarre, but so I did some front desk receptionist work. I did it there. I did it at another Pilates studio. Then I hopped around to this like it was called Hyde Park Neighborhood Club, and it was where like for ages 0 to 3 in the morning there was like programming and activities for either nannies or parents to bring the toddlers to interact and socialize and play. And so I was the dramatic play instructor and I was the arts and crafts instructor. So like I did that and worked with toddlers and kids, which I really love. Actually, I get a lot of joy from just getting to be a kid with the kids, you know?
Yeah.
Um, what else did I do? I worked at a like a fitness club where it was not necessarily anything like fitness related, but I worked in the cafe. So I worked as like, barista making smoothies, stuff like that. But it was cool because then I had access to the gym, to the facilities, so that was like a free membership basically by working there. Um, what else did I do? So yeah, that was kind of Chicago. Oh, and then I did like catering. I worked which was like random gigs here and there. It was like whenever an opportunity came up and I could do it, I would maybe, cater. I worked at a restaurant and bar as well, where I didn't serve. I didn't really want to be a server, so I mainly just did like food running, busser, um, stuff like that. Like back of house more stuff. Um, what else? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, brand ambassador work was again random opportunities here and there when like one was Cafe Bustelo, and I remember like they did this pop-up, and so they needed brand ambassadors to like walk around and hand out like free samples and flyers and stuff like that. So yeah, odd jobs here and there. But when I moved to LA, January 2020, I said, I don't want to do any of those kinds of jobs. I was like, I felt so burnt out by that kind of hustle and grind that I don't know if I was being delusional or what, but I said it in my head. I was like, I don't, I want to just enjoy like getting to be in Los Angeles and really, which is funny because then the pandemic hit. But anyways, what came out of Are you back? Oh no. Okay, I can't hear you. Should we chat? Okay. Oh gosh. Today it is a day. Exit. Oh wait. Yeah? Yeah, okay.
Okay, we're good. I'm
Okay, you're
so
back.
sorry. My computer
It's
went over.
okay. It's all right. Listen, no worries. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're good.
It was like your Zoom has stopped working, and I was like, I was
It
like,
doesn't want us. How rude. It's okay.
I
We're
was
back.
just sending you an email. Like, I am so sorry. I'm going to start a new meeting ASAP.
So do you think it recorded what we did and then
I
this is going to be a new
did.
recording?
I think it did. I hope it did.
I hope so.
You were giving great stuff.
I was just rambling about all my jobs and
Hey,
not wanting to do
listen, you were
jobs.
giving some great information.
Yes, but audiobooks, yeah, so that was where I was like, bah, da, da. That's where I like when I moved out here, I had booked an audiobook. So it was Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. And so I recorded the book, and then that kind of like opened this path of like voiceover and voice acting and voice work that I think my agents, that's another thing, having talent agents is what really helps get these opportunities. So I think my agents were like, oh, okay, I don't know if they were like, let's start submitting you for voiceover projects. So I think they like submitted me for something. It was a pretty big project, and I got the project. It was a voiceover thing that the way I can best describe it is yes, it was for an AI like thing, but it was all very conscientious and like not the bad stuff we keep hearing about. Like this was if it was done well and done respectfully and yeah, I don't know. I
Like
feel
the
like I wanted to
TikTok
say what
voice,
the project was, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
like kind of like the TikTok voice.
See, something like that. Yes, like a voice, correct. That's like people could select
Yeah,
for something. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, so that was a huge project. And it was for me at that time, that was like life-changing money. And so I said, yes, I want to do this. The thing is, it was a non-union project. So the thing with the union, non-union, I was SAG-AFTRA at that moment, but again, life-changing money. So I was like, let me let me surrender my union membership and become something that's called Phi Core, financial core member, which is, it gives me the opportunity to do non-union work and union work, and I still have to pay my dues. So based on whatever I'm making, I still owe SAG-AFTRA money, but I don't get the benefits of a union member. So I don't get the, health insurance, which is hard to qualify for health insurance through SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity, which is the theater actor stuff. It's very challenging. So I was always paying for health insurance in the marketplace, but anyways, so okay, right. So that job came along that like financially really helped me out, and where I didn't need to do a side hustle job or go do any of that, and audiobooks started coming my way. So I think it was like once I got my foot in the door in that area, it's like things kind of just started happening, and I had some great momentum and great strides and great opportunities. And then Rain Whispers came along and auditioning for that. So, I'm grateful for that. And, the life of an actor, though, and the freelance life is like, now it's just kind of like this and it's
Yeah.
quiet. And there's like, I'm still narrating audiobooks. I'm not going to lie. But to be quite honest, like, yes, I'm grateful because I also have a partner who also, provides financially and is the breadwinner of our family. And that means that like I can do these audiobooks, which yes, they pay, but it's not like consistent income. And so again, that kind of helps balance out still me not doing a restaurant job or any kind of other, side hustle gig right now. And I'm auditioning. That's a job, but I don't get paid to audition, but that's part of the job. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. So I had never heard of the what happens when you surrender your SAG-AFTRA membership. That's like completely new
That's
to me. I'd never heard of it before. Um,
wonderful. Yeah.
are you just like as an industry question, are you able to get that membership back if you wanted it?
That's a great question. I remember because that's the thing. You often hear about this, that the union frowns upon anybody, doing this route. But for me, I was like, I needed to. It was like there's not enough union work for me to make a living. And I remember on that phone call, they were just like, yes, you can rejoin, but you'll have to be reviewed by a committee basically to deem you, I don't know, worthy to come back, or and I'd probably have to pay again to join, I think. So honestly, that's all I vaguely remember was like, yes, there is an opportunity or option for me to rejoin, but at the expense or at the hands of some I don't know who the committee is. It's not like it can just be like, hey, I want to join again, here's my money.
Yeah.
I don't know, they have to review, I don't know, committee, a panel, and yeah, I'd have to have that money to pay to rejoin, and I don't remember what the rejoining fee was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it would be like have to really make sense for me to really
Yeah.
join. Yeah.
The life of an actor is really tricky.
Yeah, it
Genuinely, that's
is.
not me being sarcastic. As somebody who
No, I didn't take it
one,
that way. I
that's
didn't
why
take it that way. It
that's
is.
why I do this, is so that people can
Yeah.
learn about all of this stuff. So how were you able to find jobs as an actor before you got an agent?
Great. Yeah. So moving to Chicago, I just did research. Like even before moving out there, I started researching. I knew I specifically wanted to do theater. So it was just like me researching theater companies in Chicago, me reading their mission statements and seeing like what kind of work they did and who they were about. And then based on that, like I remember there was like some Chicago theater audition.com or something like that people would post auditions for theater shows or things like that, live performance, anything like that. And So that's kind of what I did. And I tried really hard to build relationships with theater companies, and become company members of companies, where then that kind of was like I was kind of in the in, and then I got to like do work with them, and then yeah, so I was kind of just DIY, just kind of like, okay, what can I find? In my very first Chicago, like show, again, it was for free. That's the other thing. A lot of the work I did early on in what I is storefront theater of Chicago, it was free work or little pay. It
Exposure.
definitely wasn't any. That's why I had to have those other jobs. It just, you can't live off of just doing theater unless you are rigorously doing regional work and theater like back to back. That, and people do that. I know actors who are just theater actors, and they're just always doing some show in this city, that city, this city, that city. I mean, it's a way, because then they're like, well, then that's how I get health insurance, that's how I can survive and live. So everyone has their own path and choices that they do for that. But yeah, I was just researching and finding
Yeah.
opportunities that I could, and then meeting people that way. And then when you get, you do this thing, then you meet this person who does that thing. It is a network. And it really is kind of like the people. I know it's cliche, but it's like the people and the people
Yeah.
you meet, and fostering those relationships, and being a good person and showing up and doing your work and being respectful. That also helps, because then someone might be like, oh man, yeah, Avi, what a great, so
Yeah.
great to work
Great person
with.
to be around.
you know. Um, so that was that. And then it came to the point where I was ready to audition for agencies. I felt like I had done some theater things, and I was ready to do that. And I started with a very small boutique agency. I'm like that. I start small and then I gradually like
Yeah.
grow. I like to take little steps at a time. Um, so yeah, I did that, and then I went to another agency that was a little bit bigger but still boutique. So just they didn't represent as many people. And now I'm with this agency that has offices in Chicago, LA, and New York. So it's kind of nice to have, that representation that has access to opportunities in those cities.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of, and I've always, and it's a loyalty thing too that I feel with the agents I'm with now. That might change, because people change and your needs might change because at the end of the day, it is my career and it is my life. And sometimes you have to make hard decisions. But yeah, right now I'm going to stick with where I'm at. But sometimes I'm like, oh, it's just because, like, is this loyalty, or is it like I really feel like they're helping me get to the next level,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. Um, Thank you so much for doing this. I really
Of
do
course.
appreciate it, even with all of the technical difficulties involved. Um, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.